What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? And usually Levon, but Levon is currently on holiday, so he will be back this new year. So a little bit of housekeeping. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, so you can catch all of our new episodes as they drop. However, we're taking a holiday break, so this will get you through to Christmas Eve, and then we will not be back with new episodes until January 10th. Also, if you're a Spotify listener, you can now also view us on Spotify. So we made it into the video podcast. I think it's still in beta. I'm not sure, but so if you want to see our smiling faces on Spotify, you can do that as well. So now we're on 3 video platforms and 6 audio platforms. So definitely check us out.
Right up there next to Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah, we're the world's second biggest podcast.
We that popular. Yeah.
Like, sure. Maybe just mention them will get us some get us a bump in the algorithm. But like I said, Monday and Tuesday are our topics. Wednesday is a discussion. We have a really good discussion with Ms. Aisha Hollins discussing Meta and some of their changes for IG that directly impact parents and children. And then Thursday, we'll probably skip a Ask Us SP, but Friday, we'll talk about everything else except for cyber. So if you tune into the episode, we talk about movies, video games, things of that nature. I promise no Spider-Man spoilers. So you don't have to avoid that episode. No spoilers. But to jump into this topic, so this one comes from, oh, wait, I'm skipping. It's not my turn yet. So give it to Shannon.
All right, this was from thehackernews.com, and it's written by Ravi Lakshmanan. And it's Apache issues 3rd patch to fix new high severity Log4j vulnerability. So unless you've been living under a rock, this Log4j thing has been killing the internet for the last week and a half, maybe. Maybe like 10 days or so, because I want to say it hit on like December 8th or 9th or something like that. But this is the 3rd attempt at trying to patch it, right? Like this is how serious this was, right? So they have a new CVE for the CVE 2021-45105. And when you look at this CVE, this is what I found interesting about this, right? So this is the 3rd swack at it. But as I was reading through this CVE, what I noticed is it says that this affects Apache Log4j 2 versions 2.0 alpha 1 through 2.16. Oh my gosh, I can't speak today. But it's excluding 2.12.3, right? So at one point there was a fix for this. This was a known issue that was fixed in a previous version. So 2.12.3 was already aware of this issue and it was fixed. So why it didn't carry forward from there, why Apache didn't go forward and say, okay, keep this and just go forward with our patches, I can't even explain to you. But because usually it's one of those things where it's cumulative, right? Like you build upon what you already have, but it didn't happen in this case. But neither here nor there. Like we're where we're at now, right? But this was one of those things where when we did a story on this last week, I want to say it was like something like 30% of web servers out there were affected. Is that right?
Yeah,
something like that.
One 1/3 of all internet facing web servers.
33%, so even higher than the 30%. So 33%. But no, this is something out there and it's serious, right? Like these companies need to be out there and get on the ball with this when it comes to patching their Apache. But
there you go.
Staying ahead of it, right? Staying ahead of the game, right? But this is one of those things where this actually this triggered an emergency directive from CISA as well, right? The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, right? And they have a deadline of December 23rd, which is next Wednesday, I think, something. Yeah, next Wednesday, December 23rd.
Yeah, 4 days from now. Yep.
Yep. To get this taken care of, right? So, this is something that is being taken very seriously. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where we know we have issues like this and we know we need to take care of them, but I don't understand how in this day and age, over this past 20 2 months, with the days of COVID. I don't understand how we're still at this point where people don't think cybersecurity is something serious that we need to be looking into, right? Because if you like, they're not even patching the log4j. Like if it's version 1, they're like, look, that's not even supported anymore, we're not even worried about that, right? But I know it's still out there, right? It's one of those things where
Right.
they still got it out there to be vulnerable because it's just the easy route, right? But this is what you run into. So especially when it comes to businesses that maybe run an Apache for their web servers, how much money are you losing now, right, with it being down, right? This is what you try to avoid. Spend that little bit of time, that little bit of money ahead of the game, as we talk about all the time on this podcast, right? Which is why we should be your go-to source for these types of issues, right? uh, but how many times do we talk about this and getting ahead of the game and just taking that little bit of time? You know what I'm saying? This is exactly why. But Ryan, what you got on this, man?
Yeah, definitely. I think you covered all of the keynotes to include how to say the gentleman's name that wrote the article. So sometimes I give them to you just because. But no, this definitely falls within us, right? Like your vulnerability assessment and things of that nature. Like I definitely want to get your take on it. For me, the biggest takeaways are, like you said, they're not patching the end of life Apache stuff, but how much of the internet is comprised of that. That, you know what I mean? Like we talked about it last week when it comes to asset management and tracking. Like if you don't have somebody on your team who's actually tracking this stuff, do you even know if you're impacted or affected? Do you know what version you're currently on? Like when you talk to the C-suite that doesn't have the CISO integrated into it, like they probably have no clue if they're being impacted and how vulnerable their systems are right now, because that's just not what they do. Is they're not on the IT and security tip all the time. So if you're end of life, you're more vulnerable than the rest of the world. If you are current, you're still vulnerable. So you need to get this patch. And there will probably be several more patches to come, because just as quickly as the good guys are looking to defend this vulnerability, the log4 shell vulnerability, the people who are exploiting it are looking to keep a foothold in your network. So you should be worried, and you should be checking for these devices, whether you be a large or a small company. Well, with that being said, I think another important piece of this is just vulnerability assessment in general. Like I don't think we pay enough attention to it. Like you just assume that the vendor's going to push a patch, but in this case, um, you just can't be certain. Like you need somebody on your team that this is their job. Whether it be, you hire if you can't afford a CISO on premise, and you get a vCISO, or some consulting company or someone who is looking after you, who is keeping abreast of this type of information, because it could be missed. Like it's starting to turn to memes now, right? So it's starting to get lost. Like that initial flood of very good information that poured out is being diluted by, is it log4j or is it log4? Like, how do you pronounce it? You got the meme with the lady and the cat arguing over the pronunciation of the vulnerability in question. Like you're starting to lose a little bit of that punch, that impact of taking care of this. So I can see this going into the new year. Hopefully people do pass their systems by the deadline, so before Christmas Eve. But again, this hit at the perfect time. Like people are between holidays, they're starting to shut down. Like, is your security team even on premise right now? You know what I mean? Like, are they running on what is it called? Not lights out, but
Minimal manning.
Yeah, minimal manning in your SOC. You know what I mean? Like what is happening out there in the world right now? So this could persist into 2022. Also, I feel bad. Like we always joke about how the sizzle gets no sleep, but this hit at the worst time. Like if you were on vacation, like that has been canceled until you take care of this vulnerability. So uh,
And
it's just the way of the world.
and Ryan, you mentioned last week, and what you're alluding to this week as well. Like it doesn't even have to be like, yes, the CISO is gonna have to put some work in, right? But you talked about it being a lower level person that's just looking at configuration management stuff, right?
Yeah.
To know whether or not you actually have, okay, what versions of this do we have? Do we have someone that's looking at our licenses, our software versions, doing
Yeah.
any type of management like that. Like that could be the low level person, right? That could be that person that gets their foot in the door, right? You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
if they want to pursue a career in IT or a career in cyber, actually, this could be where they start out, right? And it could be an experience to be like, okay, I see how the little stuff makes sense to have, that everybody is
Yeah.
overlooking, right?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, so that could be, like you said, a entry level job, somebody who's tracking software license agreements and just a spreadsheet of what do we have? We have web servers. What is on our web server? This like um, that's definitely a job, and like you said, a foot in the door. So definitely think about that. If you don't currently have that, think about how I can bring somebody in the cyber who can protect me and keep the company going. Because at the end of the day, it's all about keeping the company going. That's what cybersecurity is for. Like we protect the business so the business can continue to make money. Um, so with that being said, hit up the website, www.theothersideofthefirewall.com. You get to all our social medias. You can hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy on LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and IG. Levon is Levon Maynard on Twitter. So definitely continue to tune in, watch us throughout the holidays, like, share, and subscribe. And you can now watch us on Spotify. So stay safe, stay secure.